أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد كمثل غيث أعجب الكفار نباته ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يكون حطاما وفي الآخرة عذاب شديد ومغفرة من الله ورضوان وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور سابقوا إلى مغفرة من ربكم وجنة عرضها كعرض السماء والأرض أعدت للذين آمنوا بالله ورسله ذلك فضل الله يؤتيه من يشاء والله ذو الفضل العظيم ما أصاب من مصيبة في الأرض ولا في أنفسكم إلا في كتاب من قبل أن نبرأها إن ذلك على الله يسير لكي لا تأسوا على ما فاتكم ولا تفرحوا بما آتاكم والله لا يحب كل مختال فخور الذين يبخلون ويأمرون الناس بالبخل ومن يتول فإن الله هو الغني الحميد Bismillah, Alhamdulillah, Wassalatu Wassalam ala Rasulillah. Today is 10th of November 2022 and in this morning I have recited few verses from Surah Hadid, particularly from verse number 20. And in these verses Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave us the example of this world, that this world is a very temporary world and this world has a purpose, that it is a place of exam, the place of trial, the place of tribulation. And as such, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created in this world elements of attraction to test us whether we drag behind those attractions or we stay conscious that we are in an exam and stay away from those temptations and tribulations. So Allah saying is that this world is a place of la'ibun wa lahun, all kind of attractions that are bound to make us forget about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forget about our journey, forget about the purpose of this life. And these attractions are physical attractions that bring enjoyment to one of our senses, things that brings excessive food, excessive exercise of sex from the illegal or illegitimate means, extramarital sex, for example, indulgence in wine, woman, sex, all these things are part of the la'ib, and also things that divert our heart from being attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These are lahu. So the world is full of such distractions from both the physical sense as well as from the things that divert our hearts and minds. لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بينكم وتكاثر في الأموال والأولاد. How truly Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala describes the reality of this world, that those who have things, they want more, and this world of tafakhur and takathur, these are very much, accurate description of what we are facing today, which means we boast. So I see my neighbor doing this, the next day I purchase even more than that and boast that, you see, you have that phone, I have even newer version, you have that car, I have even newer version. Okay, especially among women, right? Tafakhur and takathur from kathir means more. He has this, I have that, plus more. And who is benefiting from it? The corporate capitalism, right? They even nudge us to go for even more of this, behind this affluence and behind getting things, whether we need it or not. Whereas what does this create? When there is this takathur and tafakhur and boasting and purchasing more and more, it creates, number one, it creates a veil, and we become attached to these things. The more we have, you become more attached to those material attractions, and we forget about our objective in this world. So that is one thing, the effect of hypnotism, the effect of keeping brainwashed, the effect of getting attached to these things and forgetting that we have to work for akhirah, for the day after we return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So because our times is very limited, within a day, if we take like 8 hours, we are left with 16 hours of work, let us say. So if you occupy these productive hours with things that are not adding to your akhirah's account, then we're losing very precious time. Okay, but also this overindulgence with the material entertainment and enjoyment is causing an imbalance in the distribution of wealth, and that's why we have all these inequalities in our societies. There is a group who are rich, and there are a bigger group who are poor, and this gap is widening, right? And all this capitalism, corporate capitalism, market capitalism, it just promotes this kind of things that Allah wanted us to avoid by picturing this nice picture in this Surah Hadid. وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ وَتَكَاثُرٌ فِي الْأَمْوَالِ وَالْأَوْلَادِ. And then Allah gave this nice analogy that kuffar, in this verse Allah says كَمَثَلِ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُهُ, that its likening or its analogy is like a rainy cloud that brings in rain, and it brings joy in the heart of the kuffar. And the kuffar means the farmers, because the farmer, they are kafir from the sense that they cover the seed and bury it under the soil. So Allah used the literal meaning of kafir here to indicate that, okay, they love this rain because it gonna give them a good cultivation. Okay. So كَمَثَلِ غَيْثٍ أَعْجَبَ الْكُفَّارَ نَبَاتُهُ. So very fast forward, what happens that this farmer cultivates the land, and then it grows, and the tree becomes big tree, and the harvest season comes, and that is it. It is chopped down, and the plant vanishes and wait for another cycle. So this whole world is like that. The things that we enjoy, a day will come when we leave behind those things to others. Right? So all those billionaires were they able to take with them all these provisions? They were not being able to take all these provisions with them in the graveyard, right? So they have to leave it behind. So this is the nature of this. This is the nature of this world. كمثل غيث أعجب الكفار نباته ثم يهيج فتراه مصفرا ثم يكون حطاما. At the end of the day, it becomes حطاما. So if this is the reality of this world, is it worth that we spend all this energy behind this world? The answer is no. The answer is no. We should stay and we should have a purpose, and we fulfill our purpose and work towards the akhirah, because that is the one that is meant to sustain. But this world is just a temporary place. It's like a fraction of a day in 1,000 of years. Right? So let us be very much conscious about what this verses is telling us. And Allah then diverts us that if this is the reality of this world and we just go and rush behind the luxuries of this temporary world, Allah is paying or diverting our attention to the place where we should really invest, and that is the Jannah. That is the paradise, that is the Jannah. And Allah is describing its ard, means its width. Its width is more spacious than the samawat and earth, the earth and the heaven. And usually in any geometric shape, when you say width, the length is usually bigger. And Allah didn't mention the length to just make us imagine that this is something very, very huge. So if in this world we go behind expanding our property, just purchasing a small piece of land and boasting that, yeah, I have that many acres of land or that many, I don't know, meters of land, and you spend millions behind that, Allah is telling us all these things will happen if you pass the test of this world. There will be a Jannah that has arduha as-samawat wal ard, that big. وَعِدَّتْ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرُسُلِهِ. So this Jannah has been prepared for those who earn it by staying conscious in this world, by putting these restrictions in front of all these material attractions of illegal things. So the Jannah needs to come through the door of sabr. So the Jannah can only be purchased through sabr, through the patience in front of all these attractions. It indeed requires also all of this patience. Whenever you see people on the right and left, they are enjoying their life with haram means, with illegal means, then in order for you not to engage in that, it requires patience. With all this pressure you get from your peer, from your wife, from your kids, still you do not just drag yourself behind those things. So it requires patience. Finally, the verses then goes to what is one of the greatest tools that helps us to stay steadfast in this life in front of various tragedies, various hardships that we may face in our journey towards Allah in this world. The temporary world of trials and tribulation is what is the belief in the predestination, that these things are not coming just on in a sudden unfolding on itself like a mechanical world. No, all these things are by the grand design of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and has been predestined. So let us believe in the taqdeer of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, okay, the destiny and the predestination. That's why Allah said, Ma asaba musibatin fil ardi wala fis sama illa fi kitabin min qabli an nabraha. These are not escaping the knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah has written them before He has created even the whole universe. Before He created us, He has written that today, 10th of November, I am driving, that tomorrow this will happen, that okay, everything has been written in the books of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So when we know about this, then you will feel that there is a peace of mind. Things are not happening by accidents. There are a purpose behind all these things. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us hidayah and tawfiq. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.